Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the show. It is me, your boy Rico No Suave. Rico No Suave. Yes, I am back, and I am super happy to be here with each and every one of you guys. Man, you know, I have to say that, you know, the days just fly by fast, and I know that you love me, and I love you too, and we all love you here on the Rico No Suave show. So don't forget, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to everything that we're doing right now, and share the video, everybody. Let's get it on. All right, everybody, we got a packed full show for you today. This energy is going to be off the chain today, everybody. It's going to be sick, right? So don't forget to make sure you go ahead and share this video right now. Comment, let us know what you think, because it's about to go down. That's all I got to say. You know, Mental Health Awareness Month is still going on, everyone. And of course, we care about you. We care about people that's actually going through this mental health awareness when it comes from adults to kids, from kids to adults, and even in the middle. We understand what you're actually going through. So we are celebrating the organizations that's out there that's doing great things of healing or trying to help heal you through depression, as well as whatever that you're going through. COVID-19, once again, has actually made a big impact in regards to self-esteem. And this Mental Health Awareness Month, I'm loving it. But Mental Health Awareness Month is every single month, everybody. So make sure if you have a loved one, make sure you go ahead and show that love as far as to your family members or to your loved ones. All right, everybody, there is a strike that's actually going on, and we're going to put up two of one of my favorite cartoons, actually. I love these guys. It's man, Seth MacFarlane is a genius. I have to say he's definitely a genius, but he's also passionate. Of course, you already know Family Guy and also American Dad. Ooh, man, like if you just have them back to back, you just wind up having a six-pack before you go to sleep, because I know sometimes it comes late on Adult Swim sometimes. But, you know, that's not me. That's you. Okay, so, you know, there is a writer's strike, everyone, and what happens is that, you know, there is something that I want to read off to you guys. And, you know, early this month, the writers across Hollywood walked out and began their first strike since the late 2000s. The 2023 Writers Guild of America strike is currently in the thousands all across America. The strike centers on using artificial intelligence programs to create scripts, stories, articles, and more. The problem is with this is the AI can write up these pieces of work thanks to all the human writers who have dedicated their time through sweat and tears to produce the content we have all come to love and enjoy. What do I have to say about AI? I'm a technology geek. I'm really into technology itself. But when I hear about this, it's almost as if humans are there to produce this and then we lose our jobs. It doesn't make sense. But at the same time, too, we know exactly where AI is actually taking us. I'm starting to see a lot of things coming around with AI, and it's insane. You know, it's really insane. And this is the way that the world is actually turning with technology. But you're starting to see some weirdness going on, because I'm going to be honest with you. For me being a technology geek, you know, it's okay to see it in the movies. But when you start, like, going through TikTok and you start actually seeing it in other programs, you're like, wow, this is interesting. So, of course, the writer's strike, you know, is affecting a lot. And the reason why I brought up Family Guy as well as American Dad, that Seth MacFarlane said he will stop writing. He will not do this anymore right now until this has been solved. And I congratulate him in regards to that, because this is the way he feels about his passion for his product, right? And I really, really applaud him in regards to that. So I love this. And I love what he's actually doing, because it's such a great thing that you as a CEO of your company understands that we need humans. We need people to be able to write. We need masterminds to be able to write these scripts, to be able to write things as far as for Hollywood, because remember, these scripts for Hollywood is what we watch all the time, you know, and one thing is that we enjoy this right before we go to bed, or, you know, in the evening when we're watching TV with our families or just our friends in general. So I do want to say, man, congratulations on that. But I also want to say, continue to stand for what you believe in. To all of the WGA, all of you guys, keep doing what you are doing. So I got to introduce this gentleman that's here next to me, because he's looking at me because he's like, let's get it on, baby. Let's get it on. Hey, this gentleman is also film director. He's a cool guy. He is cool, right? Film director. He's also a speaker, right? Now, the speaker piece, we're gonna indulge into that, because I want to see what he's about on the speaker piece. But he has actually done some really great things with Bright Cap in entertainment, and I have to say saludos to everybody that actually works there as well too. Big shout out to my man Dan and Everett. You know, that's my guy, and I love him so much, and he's been on the show as well too. But I want you guys, I don't want to give too much, but I want you guys to stand up, put a script out, try to read it while I'm talking, because my man, none other than Ashley Ephraim. I'm sorry, I got his Vargas in there. Yes. How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing great.
Man,
Thank you so much.
Man, thank you, man.
I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
I really appreciate that.
You know, I think, you know, a lot of great things that you've actually done is awesome, man. It's awesome, man. So, you know, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm ready, man. You ready?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're ready though.
I think they're ready.
We got the Cubano, the Boricua here.
Let's do it, man.
Who knows what's gonna happen?
Oh man,
now.
we might wind up having some tostones, arroz con frijoles, negro, man.
That's
it might
right.
just come out of anywhere.
That's
You know what I mean?
right.
So
No, I'm ready, man.
Let's
Thank
get
you
it
for
on.
bringing me on. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate everything you talked about when it comes to the Writers Guild.
Yes.
It's very important, you
Yeah.
know, to talk about that, especially in my industry. I'm an independent filmmaker.
Yes.
And with the hopes of being a part of the Directors Guild, and the Writers Guild, and being a part of those things. So just seeing that group collectively stand up for themselves, it's great, man.
Yeah.
You know, and I know a lot of people have different opinions about unions and things like that, but I think it as a collective, it speaks to the unity that people can have when they could come together like that.
Yes.
And really step into those moments of discomfort in order to stand for what they believe in. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
No problem, man. I mean, I think it's, you know, everyone that works in production knows that we need writers to be able to write in order for us to produce.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So it's everybody working together to make sure that whatever film that you're working in or whatever that you're doing, we all have to work as a team.
Right.
So also remember that if they're on strike, you know, the production team is on strike too.
Yeah.
Right? So all of the operations are done. But yes, of course, man, it's very important that you came on the right day, the right time to talk about a lot. Filmmaking, right?
That's right.
So let's get right into it. You know, people watch movies. You know, we watch movies all day, and then we watch short films, right? And we love that, right? And we sit back and relax. But not everybody just says, hey, I want to write a movie.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work,
Yeah.
right? There's a lot of thought, creativity within there. Being a filmmaker, what makes you go into that direction?
Well, I'll tell you, the process isn't easy. It might be simple, but you know, I've been very fortunate to just have people that I'm surrounded with that are very talented at writing. So, you know, when it comes to original scripts and things like that, I myself haven't come out with anything other than development. Okay. So I work on the development piece of writing. I see. Which involves basically taking a story and seeing the potential within it and bringing that out. Okay. So, you know, I've worked on a few productions. Pretty much all the productions that I've done, I've worked through some sort of development. Okay. The development process of it. And it very much is a marriage between that and writing. Yeah. And so, you know, like you're writing some things and then you go back and you look and like my former business partner, Dallas Madrid, he, you know, always talked about rewriting. Sure. Like writing is rewriting. Yeah. And it's very true. You got to go back and you got to do your reps, you know, until you feel like what you have is good. And so, and then, you know, then you go through the process of like just testing it out on people, testing material out and seeing how that sounds. And it seems like everybody nowadays is a critic, right? So they got, you know, I got my friends at home, and I'm like, "Are you Siskel or Ebert?" You know, like, so I like that. Yeah, but you know, you get some value out of it. I don't think any criticism is wasted. Sure, you know. Sure. So you it depends on what outlook you have towards it. Yeah, because I'm gonna be honest with you. There's some movies that, you know, Siskel and Ebert put out there that's like it wasn't good, and everybody and their grandmother was like, "That was a beautiful movie. That was an awesome movie." But of course, that's why they're critics, right? Yes. It's almost as if critics for food, right? Yeah. You know, you go and eat the food, like, "Oh, I really didn't like that." But I'm like, man, that's pretty good. I'll eat it. Yeah, I'll eat it. Exactly. Exactly. And I think that is awesome. When filmmaking, of course, we talk about the creative process, right? The creative process in regards to development.
talk to us in regards to what comes to mind and how do you prep yourself, like, or like I could just say it's just no pun intended. Spark, right? Well, how did this spark all of a sudden for you to be you to be able to just bring that out? Like something has to click in order to say, okay, I want to write about this.
Yeah, I think a lot of it gets pulled from experience initially. Mm-hmm. So there's an adage that goes, write what you know. You know, but I feel like it's more about write what brings you joy, and through that, you're able to put things on paper that if it's entertaining enough for you, guess what? There's probably an audience out there for it. Yeah. So I think that's the mentality that you have to go into.
Yeah, and I think it's also the scary part too, right? Because when you're being creative, how many unique people are going to, understand what your mindset is, right? Did you have any influences as far as filmmakers that you look up to?
Man, growing up, the classics like Steven Spielberg was a big one. I love adventure movies, and then when it came to like later in the 90s, probably I would say, the Wachowski brothers, or they're the Wachowskis now. That came out with the Matrix trilogy. The Matrix is like my favorite movie of all time. Me too. And so and then right now I'm like super high on Chris Nolan. So Christopher Nolan. So I like the kind of the epic directors that just bring something different, bring some huge kind of change. So that's kind of where I like to focus in on what those guys are doing.
Yeah, you got me choked up on that one, because I think one of the things about when you're actually thinking about what other people have done, and you try to not compare yourself, but try to walk in the footsteps of what it may look like in respect to them.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. It's you don't want to look exactly like them, but you want to actually try to feed off of that and get what you want as well too. So, it's interesting to be creative. When you're actually, and I always talk about this with authors, and I also talk about this with writers. Yeah. Do you ever have a creative block?
Yeah, absolutely. I think those come and go. They have ebbs and flows to them. And so a lot of times it comes down to either like the concept and the idea, like, does it flow well with the other part of the story? Yeah. Sometimes you can get stuck in that. Yeah. For me, I find that the majority of the blocks that I get are actually on the editing side. Okay. So I do editing as well. Mm-hmm. So the editing side, sometimes you just want the story to continue and to flow well. Yeah. And sometimes you run into a take where it's like, man, if it was just shot this way instead of this way, or if this line was said here instead of there. And those are like little nuances that I think people sometimes underestimate when they're watching a movie. When they go out and they see something on film and they go, that movie was pretty good, but I just felt like it was missing something. Sometimes it's the flow and the timing in those little parts that if it happens throughout the movie, it's just going to change the entire dynamic.
It's crazy because sometimes they have multiple endings, right? Multiple endings where they say, hey, here's ending number 1 and here's ending number 2, or a bonus feature at the end of this is what it probably would look like if it was this ending, right? And then I don't like that per se, because I'm like, man, once the movie's over, it's over, right? I mean, I don't want to look at the second ending. I'm not a big person, and this is just me, I'm not a big person in regards to behind the scenes. Right? Behind the scenes is really hard, for me to watch, because I like The Matrix. People are like, oh, man, you should have. I'm like, no, man, I can't watch that, man. I can't watch it. It will spoil my idea of what the movie's about. But I would understand from you as a film director to be able to look at it. I love the behind the scenes. Exactly, right? So I would see from your standpoint what would be the bomb, right? Because you get those ideas and you get everything going. So that's really cool. Have you seen anything behind the scenes that just like, wow, that's great? Man, I'll tell especially you with The Matrix, I guess.
Yeah, I think in the industry right now, we're seeing this shift on how production is done when it comes to the standpoint of like studio space. Mm-hmm. So what I mean by that is if you've seen the show The Mandalorian, on Disney Plus. Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't seen that.
My gosh. All right. First, you need to watch that, okay? All right.
Okay.
I'm going to check on you. You got to watch it, right? All right. I'm going to follow up.
Okay.
But you got to watch The Mandalorian. So
Okay.
the great thing about The Mandalorian and Jon Favreau, who's the director, executive producer, the guy that came up with the idea to make the show.
Yeah.
They developed a space based on the technology and the things that he was learning through filming The Lion King, Iron Man, those movies, through the technologies that they've developed in that, plus like VR technology.
I see.
They were able to implement all this into the Mandalorian space, and they developed a studio. It was one of the first LED studios.
Wow.
So just think of this room and pretend that we would be like, all this would be surrounded by LED screens. And then there's a virtual reality camera that's projecting an image behind us that looks like a set.
Oh, snap.
Right?
Oh.
So
that's it.
That's it. Dude, that is the future of cinema right now. And the irony in all that is that from the conversations I've heard and I've seen through some of these documentaries, George Lucas, who's just phenomenal.
Yes, of
He's
course.
one of my favorites of all time. And his dream from day one of coming out with Star Wars was to have what they have now.
Okay.
So he was, in theory, he was like 40 years ahead in his mind of what he wanted to do. But I just love the direction that's going and seeing the behind the scenes of how Disney developed the Mandalorian, that type of space. Now what you're seeing is here in Chicago, there's a couple different studios that are bringing in that type of technology in a smaller scale. But it's crazy. Like you can have a car in a studio, do a car scene, and it looks like you're outside. Like you're driving. And it's not like that Seinfeld, where like you have the screen in the back. It's not like that at all. So,
Even though you love that and you know that it's actually, even though you know it's like really fake.
Fooled,
I know.
This is the day and age we live in where now it's like artificial intelligence and LED studios. You're not going to know the difference between reality and fiction.
That's crazy, man, because I would, and I love Transformers, right? So I love Transformers, and I'm like, man, they're really in that desert. You know what I mean? Like, they are doing their thing in the desert. And I really like that whole AI type deal, but also the LED. That's interesting. I never actually heard about that as well. So, man, we got a lot of people that's actually tuning in. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You already know my man Ashley Ephraim is here with us, the filmmaker, man. Let's get it on. Thank you, John T, for checking in with us. Thank you. We have Beatrice checking in. We got Leafy Green Tree checking in.
That's my guy.
Ashley got the people's eyebrow. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
I don't know what they're talking about. I have no idea. Which eyebrow do you want?
Beatrice Davis, hello. Kathy Carson, the agents checking in. Thank you guys so much for checking in with us today as well, too. Fight the power. I like that, Leafy Green. Let's get it on, man. Let's get it on. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Yes. So, because before we play this clip, of course, but I the filmmaking piece, congratulations on your process in regards to becoming a filmmaker, right? And also with directing as well, too, which I know I want to get into as well in regards to how do you find, people and how do you direct them, right? Because it's all, sometimes it's psychological, man. It's all about, making sure that you do it right. When it came to Sparky, right? Sparky itself, how did that come about? And for the audience to know, how did Sparky come about?
Man, that's a special story in itself because it involved a long-term friendship with the writer and creator of Sparky. Who's Dallas Madrid, who is actually he's the main guy. He's Marshall in Sparky. Okay. And so I'm sure you're going to have him on soon. I hope so. I highly encourage it because he's just phenomenal, just person in general. But it came down to a phone call where Dallas reached out to me and he was like, hey, I wrote this 14-page piece of, just literature here that it's an attempt at writing a script. And I had a little background when it came to doing some TV stuff. And so he sent it out to me. He's like, hey, would you mind taking a look and let me know if I have anything here? And from the story that he's told me, and he's going to tell it so much better than I am, But him writing that came from his own personal experience as a union electrician.
Wow.
So he's a IBEW 134 electrician here in Chicago.
Okay.
And a lot of these stories came from his apprenticeship.
Okay.
And he used the writing process as a way to like get basically decompress from some of the pressures that he was feeling.
Sure.
His wife was going through some health issues at the time, and it was just a way for him to like cope and to get that out, you know, which is really special. So when he approached me about reading it, I was like, I'm going to take a look at this very carefully and just give him the feedback, you know, be honest about it. Yeah. And I said, I think we got something, man. I think we could develop it. So then we spent the next couple months taking that 14 pages and turning it into like a 45-page script. Oh, wow. And from that, I had this crazy idea of just going, what do you think if we just film it? You know, when it came down to it, it was either do what most people in the industry do, pitch the script, sit down in a boardroom and, you know, capture the imaginations. And I was like, everybody kind of does that. Like, let's just take a risk and do it. And that's how Brightcap Entertainment was born out of that. Oh, wow. Out of that idea of like, let's just produce it ourselves. Wow. So, so then we went into this process super naively and not knowing what we were getting ourselves into. Yeah. And that's how we met a lot of our actors, was just learning the process and going through the process of casting, pre-production, production, and post-production. Sparky was like our first thing. Wow. So, yeah.
That's cool, man. That's awesome. I love the name Brightcap Entertainment. I like that. I really like that, man, because Brightcap is, how can I say, it just sounds like it's just a cap with ideas. Yeah. Let the light bulb go. You know what I mean?
And it had a dual meaning to it, because it took us forever to come up with a name. Yeah. But it had a dual meaning to it, and part of it was we had a group of guys. It was 4 guys that we initially kind of all collaborated together to start this thing. Okay. And we all, every meeting we had, this was during the pandemic too. Okay. So I got the script in 2019. We finished it at the end of 2019, and we started casting at the beginning of 2020. Okay. And so we had auditions in 2020. Wow. And then next thing you know, when we're casting and we have everybody, March comes and boom, the pandemic hits, everything shut down. So then what we did is essentially take the opportunity as an opportunity to learn and to grow in the process. Okay. So we had Zoom table reads, we had Zoom meetings. The cast didn't fully know each other, like in person. They didn't go face to face until July of later that year. Once we had I think it was level 3 or whatever it was here in Illinois, where we can be around each other as long as people were masked and tested and all that. Yeah. So, it was a very interesting process at the end of the day. Yeah. But it was very special because it was like, we're not going to allow really anything to get in our way. We're just going to look for the success in this, because I felt like we had something really special there.
I'm loving this, man. You know why I'm loving it? Because you stay consistent. You stay consistent in regards to, your dream. Yeah. Right? And, I kind of felt the same way, too, with my show. Even though I knew that people could come in, I ran it for a couple episodes by myself, and everybody that my guest was actually over the phone. But I stay consistent because I want to make sure that I want to produce something for the audience, right? Yeah. But for you guys actually stayed with it, because now when you produce this, it's like, this is going to be hot. Because imagine if you didn't. Yeah. Imagine if you just waited it out and really didn't put your all into that. Right. You guys would have been pushed back even further, because how many meetings did you guys have a week?
Oh, man. They were consistent, just constant meetings. I was working full time back then. Okay. And then when it came time, a month before we shot, I just quit my job and I went full into this. Good stuff. So the plan was in place, Sure. I don't want people to think that I went into this blindly. Yeah, yeah. I was actually in a 3-year process of trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Okay. Because I knew I didn't want to stay in the vocation that I was doing. Yeah, I was not smart. Getting satisfied at my job doing what I was doing. Sure. And so I had to look for something. So I was exploring those 3 years, and then the script came, and I was like, maybe there's something here. And as we continued to unravel and see what was there, I'll tell you what, man, it's just like here. you can't do this without everybody that's involved.
I cannot.
Not
at all.
And getting to meet your crew, they're so important.
Yep.
And so for us, it was the same thing. It was like, we know we need a collective.
Yes.
We need each other in order to make this work.
That's right.
And the cast bought in, the crew bought in. It was phenomenal. And you see the results of that. It was our first full production coming up with this pilot concept, and it's been received well.
You could definitely tell the vibe, when I looked at the bloopers. You could definitely tell everybody was on that vision. Everybody was on that same level. And when you see that on that same level, you're like, man, yo, this is it right here. I'm feeling that vibe, right? And I think because people really love to actually work together and know, and even during a pandemic, some people don't realize the talent that they have until, like, for you guys, if they were actually acting or if they're beginning acting, they definitely enjoyed it, because you can definitely tell from the series itself, well, from Sparky as well, right? You guys work so well together, dude, and you can definitely tell everybody had a blast. Yeah. Especially the bloopers, dude. The bloopers had me dying, man. And I'm like, oh, my God. It made me want to watch it. And I start watching it again. Right? Just to see as far as the different parts. But, I don't want to spoil it for everybody and their grandmother out there. Too sorry, right? So I want to make sure that, that everybody understand. Sparky, how did that name come up?
It's actually kind of the nickname that you give an apprentice electrician. Okay. And an electrician in general, they call them Sparkies. So
because of the electric.
Yeah, because the electric. So you got it. No, man. But,
it's like charades, right?
Yeah. Through this process, it's funny because I learned a lot about the trades.
Yes, sir.
Through it, and that's kind of the cool thing about filmmaking is when you dig in to these different topics and different ideas. Yeah. You start learning a lot about these specific jobs and terms and things like that. So I had no idea what being green was, and that seems so basic to me now, but being green, being new at something, and they use that a lot in the trades.
Yeah, we do that in technology too, like greenfield, right? Yeah. Something brand new, right? Something to be able to say, hey, this is something we have to design and go from there. Yeah. So you see, I'm putting my nerd hat on, right? But yeah, that's so cool, man, that you're able to learn that as well, right? Would you ever go into the electrical field?
No, I would probably. I don't know if I'd last. I don't know if I'd it's a lot. They learn a lot. It's not just the physical. Yeah. It's very much like the intellectual side of it. Yeah. You think about all these buildings and where we're at in beautiful downtown Chicago. Yeah. And just think about the electrical work in those buildings. Just the miles and miles of wire that had to be pulled through. It's amazing. It's insane.
I watch, when we have a new site or something like that, and I watch the electrician go and do their thing in these closets or just on a floor. Yeah, it's amazing. It's like clockwork to them, but the intellect there for them to be able to put things at a certain code, making sure that everything is right there at the right time. So
that's it. I really have an appreciation for the trades and for IBEW 134. They supported us in this project. Yeah. Just gave us the blessing of go ahead and do it. Yeah. And so we have a good relationship with them. They were great throughout the process. So very thankful.
You already know my man Ashley Ephraim is here with us, man. We got to play that clip. We got to play the clip, man. So everybody, I want you guys, I hope after this, you're going to be able to go on YouTube and watch this clip. Do you want to say something?
Do you want me to set it up real quick?
Set it up.
Okay. All right. So in this clip, what we're seeing is this relationship between an apprentice and his journeyman. And the journeyman is the guy that he's going to learn from. All right. Now, a lot of times what happens in the trades is that when you're the rookie, you have to go out and get food for everybody else. Okay. So here Marshall goes out and grabs breakfast, but forgets a very important piece of that breakfast. And we're about to see what the repercussions of that are.
All right, everybody. You already know. Let's roll that clip.
So I now know what powdering donuts means.
Have you guys ever tried hot yoga? They heat up the room so that you get a better stretch on all of your muscles.
Do they heat up your vagina, Rick?
is...
What do you think you're doing? Yeah, we send the new guy out for breakfast.
Yeah, I'll take hotcakes with syrup.
Ham and egg sandwich.
Coffee, 2 cream, 2 sugar.
Mediterranean egg white on brioche. Tell Johan I need the organic eggs, all right? And there's a store on the corner. Why don't you get yourself some powdered donuts? Powdered donuts. Well, as I like to call it, Johnson & Johnson on Johnson. The Shavasana, all of this elongates, all of this.
I would not want to do that.
Really? Hey, right on time.
Oh,
Hey. All right.
Organic eggs. Johan says hi.
Johan is from Stade, huh? Beautiful.
You having a panic attack, Rick?
What? No. Where the hell's my syrup?
Syrup?
Yeah, for my hotcakes. How the hell am I supposed to have hotcakes without any syrup?
Here we go.
Seriously, kid, can you do anything fucking right?
You just...
It should be in the bag.
Oh my God.
Is having syrup for my hotcakes a must?
Did that just happen?
Of course. You know, do you have mustard on a Polish, Coke with your rum, pretzels with your beer, sauce on your spaghetti, frosting on your cake, ketchup on a hot dog? Well, I guess that one's kind of debatable.
I like to beat the shit out of Rick, but that seems like a lose-lose. Do I tell Ryan? I don't think I want to go to her for that. I don't know. Maybe taking a pancake to the face is just the trades.
Oh, man.
Oh man, you know that was good, bro. Hey, great job, bro.
Thank you.
I love that, man. That is hilarious, man. The pancakes, that's part of like, oh my God, that's one part that I love. The
Yeah.
smacking of the pancake on his face. How many times did you guys have to go through that scene?
Oh, man, I was hoping you'd ask that. I think we went through it about seven or 8 times. So, and I think I have every single time that we did it.
Yeah.
Saved somewhere. So, yeah, it was, we had a few takes where it just like landed pretty perfectly.
Yeah.
But then it was like, we didn't get the right sound,
Yeah.
so we just play it over and over again, And I was like, I better stop now before Dallas thinks that I'm like, I have some animosity towards him or something. But no, he took it like a champ, man. He was just like, let's just get it right, let's do it. And I think what's interesting is when you meet these people in real life,
Yes.
like who they are as human beings, they're so awesome.
That's awesome.
And the guy that plays Rick, he is one of the nicest guys
I'm sure.
I've ever met.
Oh my goodness.
And when people see Casey as Rick on the show, they're just like, man, this guy's such an a-hole,
They take it for real.
Yeah.
That's
and
good acting, though.
Yeah, it's great acting. And so, him doing that pancake toss over and over again, I'm like, you got real good aim there, Casey. You're doing a good job there. So, but yeah, man, that was great.
Man, that was one of my favorite. Like, that was one of my favorite scenes. But at the same time, too, he just had it right. Like, he got it right. And I watched the bloopers on that, and he got it like every single time. It wouldn't stick on some of them, and it just fell. But of course, I know it. But everybody has to see it. You got to see Sparky on YouTube, everybody. So make sure you bookmark that and make sure you share that with your friends, man, because this part right here just made me laugh so much, man.
And there's kind of moments like that throughout the whole thing, right?
Yeah,
so that's kind of the whole thing about the trades.
Yeah.
Is that there's always some sort of pranking going on. They're not like really into the hazing side of it.
Yeah.
It's more like, can I get this guy versus him getting me back? And it becomes a game between especially the younger guys and the older guys.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's one of the things we wanted to just showcase on there. That, you know, you have to have some tough skin to be a part of the trades, for sure.
For sure,
Yeah.
man. I mean, you definitely, to be able to play a role knowing that you are not like that,
Yeah.
and to be able to get into that, it's almost like you can't help but to laugh at certain scenes, even
Right.
when you're actually doing it. Now, of course, you guys' laughs are for real, like
Yeah.
when you guys are doing it, because that's what makes it so natural, right? As well. Where was this taking place at? Like, where was this at in Chicago?
Yeah, so there's this place, I'm trying to remember where it was located exactly. I think it was kind of by Logan Square.
Logan Square, okay.
But there's this place called Silent Funny, and I think they might still be around, but it was basically like a little warehouse there,
Okay.
where they would allow like artists and, you know, people to come in and film some things, and
Okay.
they had a great space for us there. And
Nice.
so again, this was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So, you know, obviously you hate what happened during the pandemic.
Of course.
But there was definitely, you know, you got to turn your perspective a little bit and see that there's a reason for it all. And
Yeah.
so for us, you know, one of the things that came out of the pandemic that was actually good was the fact that we were able to get spaces like this
Yes.
and meet the people behind them. And
Yes.
where otherwise, if things were regular, like they were going normally, we might have not had the opportunity. So
Yeah.
we take those things as blessings, you know,
Of course.
in the middle of the chaos that was the pandemic.
What's going on? Yeah.
But yeah, man, it was a great space, and they were so generous to us with it, and now we're kind of jumping and trying to find some different spaces throughout the city. So,
Yeah. I like the way that you guys put things together where it was all over. Like, I would say you're taking shots of downtown Chicago, also when you're driving, and then you're like switching it around, right? And
so that was
pretty
done.
interesting
That was
too.
done during the pandemic as well.
Yeah.
So you can tell if
Yes.
you're looking at the frames, you'll see, you know, the streets are emptier,
Yep.
and there's a couple shots of the bean,
Yep.
and there's nobody around the bean, which
Yep.
just doesn't happen.
Correct.
And what I did is that I came down a couple times to Chicago, and I was just like, let me just stay down here for an afternoon and just get some B-roll, because I
B-roll.
really want to showcase, and that was something that was at the heart of it.
Yeah.
It's like we want to showcase Chicago.
Yeah.
Chicago's too beautiful not to
on.
show off. So
Thank you,
yeah.
man. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Man, you know, it's just, you did say the one word, which is understandable, and it's beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Chicago is beautiful.
Yeah.
That show is beautiful. I really like it, man. And of course, a lot of people don't know, they haven't probably seen it yet, but what is it similar to that you guys thought about the whole process with?
Yeah, so the similarity to it is it's shot as a mockumentary. So a mockumentary is a fake documentary.
Yeah.
You know, you go all the way back to like Spinal Tap, which was an older movie from I think the 80s or something like that. It's a great movie.
Sure.
Rob Reiner was the director of that one, and
Okay.
he's just hilarious. And it's about a fake band, and there's a camera crew that goes with them, and they do a documentary on this fake band.
Okay.
And so that kind of started the whole mockumentary movement. And then comes The Office in the UK.
Yeah.
So they started with the UK version with Ricky Gervais.
Yeah.
And then they did the US version with Greg Daniels and those guys. And so when I was looking at the script, it was kind of set up a little bit more like a sitcom.
Yeah.
But I thought for two reasons, I thought let's shoot it as a mockumentary. And one of them was I felt more comfortable as a cinematographer using handheld.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the second one is that I felt like it would give us like more room to play with the actors' talents and abilities that we had.
Okay.
So
Okay.
pretty much all the actors that we had are improv actors. They've been through like Second City.
Yeah.
And, you know, and they still do shows and things like that now. So
That's cool.
We lucked out on that.
Yeah.
And where we had some great talent and people that could just like,
Get
you know,
on it right
get
away.
Like Dannon, you see Dannon in
Yeah,
there, you see
Dannon is
John in
just
there, you
like-
see Casey, and they're just like, incredible at just coming up with their own stuff. So we essentially laid out a script and an outline, right? And then when we were doing like the talking heads, for example, which is, you know, when you're sitting in a chair like this and you get that documentary perspective. That was like, hey, let's throw some ideas at you and you come up with the responses. So when you're seeing that, like 99% of it was like improv when it comes to the talking heads, which is great. Because if you've seen some of like John's talking heads, for example, there's a bit in there where he talks about Keanu Reeves. And it just kills me every time I watch it. And that just all came off, you know, from the dome.
I have to say that this is one thing that you already answered the question for me already in regards to how do you find the actors, right? How do you go about, you know, saying, hey, I have this type of style that I want for this actor, this actress as well, too, because there was also a young lady that was in there that was kind of like an administration, HR, I would assume, right? So, and how did you guys, even though they all came together, right? It was just so easy, but in order for you to be able to say, hey, this is you, because if that came from Second City, it feels like coming from that era, they can be able to do multiple roles, right? So how did you guys figure out you're going to play this role, you're going to play this role, you're going to play this role?
Man, and I remember the audition process and how that was. We auditioned everybody at the Roselle Public Library. We found, you know, a conference room in there and had them come in. And, you know, for the most part, I'll be honest, like, I felt like the majority of the actors that came in, we knew pretty much right away who they were going to be. For the exception of a few. After seeing so we would give them different, like, speaking roles. And then that's how we kind of determined it. It's like,
that's cool.
Read this as Rick. Read this as, you know, the foreman. And so, you know, it was pretty... we were lucky. We were lucky because it's not always that cut and dry, but for us it was, where people just stepped into those roles and you could see where they're comfortable versus where they weren't.
I see. And
I
didn't think about that.
The comfortable piece. So you tend to, you know, some of the actors came in reading for a specific part, and like I think that the guy that played Casey came in, or the guy that played Rick, Casey, he came in and read for the foreman as well. And primarily he was prepared for the foreman, not so much for Casey. So, you know, like that's what he prepared for. And so, not for Rick. I keep calling him Casey. Casey's his name. Casey Friend.
No problem.
But yeah, so when he came in and he started just reading those Rick lines, I was like, dude, this is crazy. Like, this guy's nailing it, you know, every step of the way.
That's hot.
So it just has a way of figuring itself out. And then Matea Cirencion, who is she plays one of the characters on there. I don't want to spoil too much on it, but she is kind of the security officer on the site. And so she makes sure that everything is, you know, good on the site, that nobody's getting hurt, and, you know, no incidents or accidents are happening.
I see.
And she has a pivotal role, and we wanted to highlight that because we feel like women in the trades is underrepresented. So we wanted to highlight that a little bit more. And that's kind of the whole process of the show, and why we hope that it continues to move forward, because we want to introduce newer characters, you know, from diverse backgrounds and things like that as well.
That's cool.
That you might not always think about when you think of blue collar or you think about the trades. So,
that's cool, man. We're going to take a break, everybody. We're going to take a quick break. You already know we're going to show you our social media. You already know my man Ashley Ephraim is actually here, filmmaker and director. We'll be back in 30 seconds, everybody. Here we go, darling. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Are you having a good time on there?
Oh man, it's great.
Man,
thank you again,
bro. This is awesome, man. This is awesome. I'm really loving to be able to talk to you from a filmmaker, and now, of course, I want to talk to you as a director.
Yeah.
Right. Now, we want to talk about your speaking because we got a few minutes of fame left, right?
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to you directing, let's talk about how you were directing. Right,
Yeah.
because in this being a director itself, what was that like? As far as from a director standpoint, because I always think of a directing as like a traffic cop, right? Like you're saying, hey, you go there, hey, you go there, hey, no, not right there, you go here, right? When it was time for you to actually start direct, have you had how long? Let me ask you a question. Let's go back.
Yeah.
How long have you been directing, or is this your first one?
Sparky was my first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
What I'll tell you about it is that it really comes down to, again, collaboration.
Yeah.
So I had amazing people surrounding me that had either done some sort of directing before,
Sure,
or were just good with the logistics of directing. So
yeah.
my assistant director, Mason Goodturney, who's also a phenomenal improv guy.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember the scene with the tape measure,
Yes.
the guy that held the tape measure,
Yeah.
that's Mason.
Okay.
And Mason just did a phenomenal job of just helping me when he was on set and being able to direct the crew and the actors.
Yeah.
And get a lot out of them. So I credit a lot to the people that were surrounding me in this whole process.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't have done it by myself.
Of course.
By no means.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
but yeah, and then you just make adjustments. You know, I think that primarily if you're trusted to lead with the vision that you have as a director, then you want to be respectful of people's trust.
Of course.
And so having conversations with the actors, having conversations with the crew, of what you're looking for, and understanding the boundaries that everybody puts in place, and understanding your own boundaries that you put in place. I think those things are all crucial and important when you're doing this for the first time, especially.
Now, when you're directing as well, I mean, sometimes it's kind of like, well, how do I direct these guys accordingly? And I know it's by the script.
Yeah.
Right? And are you like, all right, guys, take one? Like they do with the horn, the bullhorn.
Yeah.
Like, all right, guys, take one. All right.
No, they didn't trust me with a bullhorn. So
no.
They didn't trust. How you gonna
And
trust?
one equal, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how you gonna trust a Puerto Rican guy with a bullhorn? You crazy? You crazy, man? It's not gonna happen.
And that's what I tell them. I say when I'm teaching my dance class, I'm like, I don't need no mic. I'm
Right,
good.
right, exactly. So
and it's cool because that way your voice portrays and they can always hear you in their sleep. That's what I tell my students. I'm like, when you go home, you're going to hear me in your sleep counting.
So good.
So, I mean, and that's cool because I always think of directing as like a timeline.
Yeah.
Right? Do you ever create, is a script the timeline for you guys? Would you call it that? Or do you also have like a separate piece of paper saying bullet point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
No, you pretty much go by the script for the most part.
Okay.
I know that there's different styles of directing,
Yeah.
and some will just want to check off the bullet points, on their outline or whatever it is.
Sure.
But we just go by the script. So, for me, it was very. I wanted to be very personable when it came down to it.
Good.
And having conversations with the actors and going, how do you like to be directed?
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad question to ask.
Yeah.
I think there's some people that are just like, I've done other productions now where just tell me what you want. You want me to be louder? Tell me to be louder. You want me to be meaner?
Yeah.
Be meaner. And I've had other actors that will just go, what's the meaning behind this line? What's the emotion behind this line? There you go. So there's different actors have different needs, and you have to figure that out as a director by asking questions.
Yeah, I like that because you actually care about your people, right?
Yeah.
And you care about who you're about to be directed to, right? Yeah. And I think one of the things is that when you think about how you're ready to address, you want to make sure that they understand the direction, right? The direction where you're going with that. And it's pretty cool that you asked that because I'll be honest, I've seen a lot of Hollywood movies, and I did catch them behind the scenes, and they screaming at everybody. It's like chaos, right? Chaos behind the scenes, and like, no, I don't want to do that. Well, you got to do that, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's interesting.
It's an arduous process, It's very, you're sitting on set. We had a couple times that it was like 12-hour days, where you're. And these are all people that were willing to be a part of this and volunteer their time,
Good.
So that was a big part of it. For us was like, how do we honor that? So there were definitely moments of like high tension,
Yep.
like it's not all sunshine and rainbows,
of
but
course.
there was moments of high tension, but even in those moments, like I think we came out on the other side better.
That's good.
Because of it, because we were willing to just put down the ego and have conversation. So.
Well, I think it humbles a lot of people too, especially the
100%.
pandemic. Man, humbles a lot of people, and I think that's very good because we're sociable people.
Yeah.
We love to be around people, and by getting the work done together is just the key. Let's talk about the speaking piece.
Sure.
As a speaker, tell us about that piece, because all you have is speaker.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think of it as public speaking.
Sure.
Right? What is your definition of a speaker, and how does that apply to you?
Yeah, so I think it's anybody that can communicate a message that they feel an audience needs.
Okay.
And so for me, like it's something that I've gone in and out of, and I'll probably continue to go in and out of for a while.
Yeah.
But for me, like my message has really been around the concept of hope.
Okay.
Hope within humanity, hope within people.
Okay.
And then also just the miracle and belief.
Okay.
And so, I stay very strong to my faith.
Good.
And so I talked about a lot about that, whether it's to younger people. So I was a youth, like a youth pastor over at Willow Creek Church for a little while.
Okay.
For a few years, where I had like a high school group that they were my kids, they were my students. And so I saw from freshman all the way to senior, my boys were my guys, and I saw them graduate and do all that. But
that's hard, man.
Being able to just have conversations with them, I saw a necessity when it came to Gen Z and the generations after them. When it came to like understanding that there are people that believe in you.
Yes.
There are older people that believe in you. Not everybody's against you.
Yes.
And so if I can showcase that and get one kid or, one student to believe in that, then I feel like the speaking will continue.
Yeah.
So I've had the opportunity to do that at a few different like youth camps and things like that in high schools. It's not something that I've pursued like for a full-time thing.
Yeah.
But it's whenever I get an opportunity, I'll go out there and have conversations and just have conversations with young people. Right now it's very much like Gen Z, like the younger 20-somethings. Like I love talking to them because like there's just a lot of ambition and a lot of dreaming, and I'm a dreamer.
There you go.
And so for me, I graduated from high school like 20 years ago. So it's like there's a lot of life experience there.
Yeah.
And so if they're willing to listen, then I'm willing to just give as much as I can, but I'm also willing to listen.
Yeah.
I'm also willing to try to understand where are they coming from? What is it that they need that other people aren't giving that opportunity?
I think that's a very good point, but it also goes into mental health awareness,
Absolutely.
Right? So I think it also comes down to a fact of how many people are actually really taking the time to talk to kids or the youth that doesn't have those guardians.
Yeah.
Also, where the parents are not there.
Right.
They're there, but they're not there.
Right.
And I think by being able to talk to them and give them, hope, or give them at least some words, because the influences nowadays is totally different from the influences back in my day.
For sure.
Right? And I think by you doing that also helps a lot of people see exactly the goodness that you're doing to be able to help the youth as much as you can.
Yeah.
Right? Because the kids, right, of course, we all know they're running wild, right? And there's that respect level is not there. But to be able to help them and say, hey, there's a different path in order for you to be able to go without disrespecting your elders. Yeah. Right? And I think that's one of the things about the young or Generation Z. that nowadays they're looking to try to make their own decisions, but it also hurts with social media.
Yeah.
Social media is a big influence in regards to what influences them to make their decisions.
For sure.
And I think for someone like yourself, I kind of call you like what they used to have, a youth counselor.
Yeah.
Back in, not, you know, I sound old, man. I said back in my day, right? With cassette tapes, right?
Yeah.
But it's almost as if you're giving hope to these kids, and I appreciate you doing that. Do you go out to the high schools or to any of the colleges?
No, it's usually when I've done it, it's been through like invitation, you know.
Okay.
So I've spoken to a few like groups, like students that struggle with behavioral issues, things like that.
Okay, that's awesome.
But also high schools, and,
Yeah.
you know, and I've spoken at some camps as well.
Yeah.
But it really, the heart behind it is like, I just want to be somebody that they can count on.
You can
know?
help.
And that's it. And it's not even necessarily always help. It's more about just being present.
Yeah.
You know, like I just think that kids have like, and young adults have people telling them what to do all the time. You know, they don't need another person telling them what to do.
True.
So
True.
I really want to just be there, present. If you need something, I'm here. You know, if you want to talk and just want somebody to hear you,
Yes.
I'm here. Because I think sometimes that's more needed than trying to get the right answer for somebody.
I like that, and the reason why I say this is because there was times when I was going through life where I had counselors to be able to say, I know you're young right now, but you're going to go through this phase. And I really didn't pay too much attention to that, but my parents said the same thing as well, too.
Sure, yeah.
Which was a reinforcement of pay attention to this.
Right.
Don't be in the gangs. Don't be around, you know, the bad areas. If you like to party, party safely.
Yeah.
Right? But don't be where things are going to get like, it's going to be a struggle.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
And then I saw that as time changes, you know. And these young kids will be able to see that as well, too, by the advice that you're helping. And the reason why I said help before, because your presence helps them.
Yeah.
Right? Your presence
For sure.
is there to help them. And even if you say just a little bit,
Yeah.
you know, that's it.
And that's kind of the thought behind it, is you want to try to listen 80% of the time, talk 20% of the time.
Exactly.
You know? And so if you have that mentality behind it,
Yeah.
then chances are that you're going to develop an actual relationship and friendship
Yep.
with whoever you're talking to.
Yeah.
So, and it doesn't just necessarily apply to young adults and young people either.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there obviously struggling with mental health.
Yes, sir.
And so,
yes, sir.
you know, my message really is about just hope and hope in humanity and in community.
Yeah.
Because I think it's very necessary. And so I anchor that with the story in my own experiences of just seeing warriors like my grandfather and my dad do the things that they did in their lives, and how they stood up for community, how they stood up for change, and then there's stories behind that,
Man.
on how, you know what I'm saying? So it's like
revolution, man.
it's-
I have to
it's
tell
crazy.
you. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Bro, we're almost down to the last minute. I think our minute is almost up. But, man, you had a good time?
I had a great time, man.
You know
Thank
what?
you for the opportunity.
You're going to also have a great time because I got something for you. So there's a shirt.
Oh, man.
Come on.
Come on, let's
Come
go.
on. Let's go. Let's go. So I have this shirt here. If we could take the lower third down, take the lower third off, please. So, you know, this shirt here is, how can I say it? The things that you have done becoming a filmmaker is being creative. And also, I have to give you big kudos. Du sabe, papa, to be able to leave your job and be able to go into filmmaking and going with that dream and thinking about it for 3 years. That was important because some people just wake out of bed and say, I ain't going back to work. I'm just going to go ahead and do it
Right.
and then see what happens.
Yeah.
You thought about it for that long, and then you got into filmmaking. Then you got a team. You got a team to be able to work with you. Then you start directing. Then that director piece start hitting. People trust you. You trust them. You ask them questions. Then, of course, the speaking of the youth. That's one of the biggest things about mental health awareness, of being able to be present, to be able to help wherever they need. So I want to thank you so much for being on the show, man. And this is for you. Welcome to the show.
Oh, man, thank
Welcome
you
to the
so
show.
much.
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
So good.
Yes, sir.
I got something for you too, though.
Okay,
all right?
okay.
I got something for you, and I'm wearing it right now.
You're wearing it?
Yeah, just deliver success.
Come on.
All right, I
Come
got
on.
a shirt for you.
Okay, okay.
And you know, I just have this tunnel vision where
Okay.
no matter what it takes, you know, just go after success.
Yes, sir.
In terms of whatever the definition of that is for you.
Yes, sir.
Really do that. So I have a
appreciate
friend of
that.
mine who developed this brand.
Yeah.
And I just wear it proudly because I'm like, man, like, we need to encourage people to do that.
Of course.
You know, we need to
Of
encourage
course.
people to go after success. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And also, just before I forget, one of the great things about today is that I get a chance to announce that we have
Yes.
Life
Thank
Unexpected.
You. Life Unexpected. Thank you so much. Yes. So go ahead, sir. Go right ahead. Go ahead.
So Life Unexpected is a short film we recently just put out there for the film festival circuit. And the great thing about it is that we received news yesterday that it got selected to its first film festival, the Crown Point International Film Festival. And we're thrilled about it. So we literally, it's been about a week since we started the submissions. And just to receive this feedback already is great. And so we're very proud of this film. And hopefully you'll hear a lot more about it coming up.
When is the release date? Is there a release date yet?
So we don't have one yet.
Okay, okay.
We don't have one at the moment. We're going to hit the film festival circuit for a little while.
I see.
And
Okay.
then see the response that we get from that.
Okay.
But that was also written by Dallas Madrid.
Okay.
And so he's very gifted, and he gave me the opportunity to direct this one as well.
Congrats.
So phenomenal cast.
Yes.
We have Ryan Satterfield and Rachel Berry, who I think is just phenomenal. She's going to be a star.
That's
for
hot.
sure. So yeah, so be on the lookout for that and for, you know, all the content and everything that's out there. So.
Yeah. Well, man, we got to put up your social media because everybody needs to know how to stay in contact with you, my man. So we have Linktree, linktr.ee/Ashley Ephraim.
Yeah.
Make sure you go there. You'll see everything. Instagram, Facebook, you see it all because I use it too,
man.
all of
That's
that.
right.
So make sure you just go ahead and follow him now. And of course, part of Bright Cap Entertainment, that is www.brightcapent.com. So make sure you guys go there and support them. They're going to actually have everything of their releases. They're going to have, probably have photos, but they might even have behind the scenes. We don't know, but you got to go there to support them. And also you'll see their Instagram and all their social media on the website as well too.
And one thing I'll tell you is that on Friday we're releasing, after about a year and a half of not having anything like necessarily new shot for Sparky.
Sure.
We're going to be releasing some new content.
Okay.
So on Friday. So
Okay.
that's dropping on Friday
Okay.
on our on the Bright Cap Entertainment YouTube.
Okay.
And right after that, we'll be able to show everybody the trailer for Life Unexpected as well.
Talk to
so
me,
we're excited
yes.
about that.
Make sure you send that over to us.
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
we,
for
we
sure.
would love to actually have that, man, as well too. So for sure, we can definitely. You got a trailer or something like that.
Yeah.
I would definitely love to actually present that on the show as well
Awesome.
too. I support you guys, man. You
Thank
guys are
you.
cool. Feel like I interviewed all of the
I
staff.
know,
all right.
I know.
It just keeps
We
going,
gotta get 'em
baby.
all in here,
I
man.
know, especially Dallas. I gotta get Dallas.
in
I gotta
here,
get
for
Dallas
sure.
up here. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun for sure. But my man, thank you so much for being on the show, Papa.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Everybody put your hands together. My man, Ashley Ephraim. Yeah, baby. All right, everybody, we got to get out of here. You already know your boy Rico No Suave. Hey, we got our social media as well, too, so we're going to put up ours. www.riconosuaveshow.com. That is where you'll find everything about us. You know why? Because that's everything about us, right? Because we have the archives, we have photos, we have highlights, we have all of that great stuff, so make sure you support us there. Here's the next one. You already know. Boom. Instagram, everybody. Make sure you go and follow us now. Rico No Suave Show on Instagram. Do it now, everybody. Go ahead and follow. Here's the next one. We left and then we came back because they wanted us to come back. Rico No Suave Show on Facebook, right? So make sure you go there and check us out. Make sure you like and love everything that we're doing. All right. Here's the next one. YouTube is all about us, and we're all about YouTube, everybody. So make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the show, Rico No Suave Show. Please go ahead and do it like right now. Okay, go ahead and do it now. I would love that. Last but not least, mixcloud.com/Rico No Suave show. This turns into a podcast, everybody. So you will be able to hear the archives of the audio on Mixcloud itself. Everybody, next week we have none other than American Idol contestant Mario Bonds will be here on the Rico No Suave show. You are going to be surprised. You are going to love it, and we're going to love it. We're going to have a great time. All right, everybody, we'll see you guys next week as we end off the show just like this.